Acts 16, very interesting story of Paul and Silas making their way west and a couple things they experience. Hey guys, it's Clint Paschall with the Waters Church, and we are doing the Bible together. There's three things I want to point out about Acts 16. First, you see Paul and Silas, they're making their way west through modern day Turkey. They meet up with a young guy named Timothy. Okay, Timothy he's got Gentile in his heritage. And Paul does something strange. As Timothy joins him in the ministry, he has Timothy circumcised. And in Acts 16, Luke records he had him circumcised because of the Jews in that area. Now be sure that this circumcision was not about Timothy being able to be saved. It had nothing to do with the grace of Christ. This was a sensitivity issue where Paul was being sensitive to the culture of this area, and as Timothy was going to be going into this area, he wanted to cause Timothy to have a little bit more of a cultural relevance to the people that he was reaching. There's not an emphasis here of legalism. Paul's not trying to do some sort of a thing that mandates a new complete order for all believers. You just see Paul being a good leader for Timothy to engage in the cultural norms of some of the people that he was reaching out to. Painful thing for Timothy, but appeared to be something that Timothy said, hey, you know what? If this is what it takes to be able to have an in with these people, I'll do it. Pretty intense. The second thing I want to point out in verse 16, one of the very first times you hear the word we, or you see the word we in the book of Acts, W-E, we. Well, who's writing the book of Acts? Luke. And all of a sudden, if you've been reading, you notice there's this we thing happening. Well, Luke is inserting himself. So this happens a couple other times in the book of Acts. So it's not so much of Luke recording what things that other people are doing. Luke is joining into the ministry. It's not that big of a thing, but it's just kind of cool. You're sitting there reading and it's they, and all of a sudden it's a we. And Luke is getting involved, which is cool. The author of the book did ministry along with them. Last thing I want to bring out about Acts 16, it's pretty intense. Paul and Silas, they're now all the way over into modern day Greece, okay, and their mission trips are just incredible, how fast and how far they're going. So now they're in this area known as Macedonia, and they make quite a ruckus with the young girl that gets saved. It hurts some local business. Some people are raging about it, and they have Paul and Silas severely beaten. I mean, it's brutal. You're talking the type of stuff we know about Roman floggings. Beaten with rods, they're flogged, and then they're put in prison and their feet are in stocks. Guys, this is brutal treatment that Paul and Silas are getting. And the Holy Spirit shows up. There's a huge earthquake. They're in this prison with a bunch of other prisoners as well. They're all chained up. And this amazing earthquake comes and rattles the whole jail, and everybody's chains come off. And everybody can be free. When the jailer realizes that this earthquake has basically set the prisoners free, the jailer is about to commit suicide. Why? Because if any of these prisoners get out, it's his blood. He is the one responsible, and he is then killed by his boss. But Paul and Silas say, whoa, don't hurt yourself. We're all still here. Guys, what happens next is beautiful. The jailer winds up getting saved. His whole family winds up getting saved. They wind up getting baptized. And it's this beautiful story of one person reached, and he reaches the rest of his family, and they all come to Christ. But what was the thing that hooked the heart of the jailer? Integrity. Ethics. You don't see Paul and Silas using this moment as a time to bolt. They had an ethic to them even as prisoners. Yes, the Holy Spirit set them free. They remained right there in the situation, not for pity and not thinking that they couldn't get out. They were aware of what would happen with this jailer. And when this jailer saw the ethics and the integrity of these men, how even when they were set free, they were like, no, we're not going to go anywhere. It's not like the Lord's telling us to. He set us free, obviously to make a point. They reached out to the jailer and they said, please don't hurt yourself. We're all here. We've been singing hymns. We're having a little Jesus party in jail. Why don't you join us? And that's exactly what happened. The jailer winds up getting saved. Powerful example of what happens when we stick to our integrity, when we stick to Christian ethics. We're not opportunistic. We don't look at a little seam and then shoot for it, but we examine the situation and ask, hey, what would Jesus do in this situation? What does the Holy Spirit want me to do in this situation? The whole world may be running for their lives, but maybe a Christian needs to stay put. Really strong stories of these mission trips as we continue to track the acts of the Holy Spirit today in Acts 16. Awesome. Hey, thanks for doing the Bible together.